Hi, and welcome back to Deep Six Wrestling. I'm your host, Just Pat, and this is the first ever Deep Six predictions for the G1 Climax. This is the G1 Climax 29 for New Japan, and it gets started next week on July the 6th. And it's just going to be me doing these predictions, and I also plan on doing full coverage on this YouTube channel and over on our Twitter, which is at Deep Six Wrestling. You can find it down in the description below. Be sure to follow us on there. Be sure to stay tuned. I'm gonna mess up my sleep schedule, but you know it's gonna be worth it. The G1 always provides great entertainment. I think I've watched the past two G1s. For the most part, I've tried to stay up and watch them live, or get some sleep before and wake up for them. And I really haven't been disappointed. They've all provided some really solid matches, some of the best of the year, consistently, and it's always a really fun time. And so this year, I'm just giving out my predictions. So that's what this video is. It's probably going to be on the longer side, so just be warned. If you're watching this and you are a New Japan fan, then feel free to drop your predictions for the tournament down below. Either like your full, if you want to do your full bracket, go for it. Or if you just have like your bold predictions or your just general predictions of who you think the block winners are and who's going to win the actual tournament, feel free to do so. I'd be happy to read them. But yeah, with that all being said, let's just get right into this. So yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Without further ado, here are my predictions for the G1 Climax 29. Right, so I'm normally pretty good about like hiding my notes if I have them for videos, but seeing as this is an 18-night tournament, I had to do a lot of stuff for this. I sat down. It took me a couple hours to do. I took a break in between, but I sat down, looked at all the nights, put the matches together in my head, and tried to figure out how I was gonna like book this tournament. And I have sheets here. I have math done for who's gonna win these things. And it's a process. It's a tournament you actually have to think about, and with the booking in New Japan kind of being on the unpredictable side, it does get a bit tedious at points. There's always the random upsets that are bound to happen. Yano and Bad Luck Fale, of all people, are bound to get some big wins here. And so with that being said, just bear with me. It's new, and I'm not really used to sharing these predictions here, but we're gonna get through this. So night one begins the tournament, and it's July the 6th, and it's in the U.S. It's in Dallas, Texas, and that's certainly interesting. I don't think anybody was really expecting the G1 Climax to ever. If you were to tell somebody like 5 years ago, like, oh, the G1 Climax is gonna like open in the U.S., I don't think anybody would believe you. But here we are. It's 2019, and the G1 Climax is opening in the U.S. and it's got a pretty decent card for the opening night. It's not the best card of the tournament for sure, but it's got some interesting matches. And the whole plan for this video is going to be more or less to quickly get through some of these matches and then talk about the semi-main event and the main event, and my thoughts on those. So with that being said, the first, like, if this is going in like the order they announced them in, then the first match of the night is going to be Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see Will Ospreay losing a lot in this tournament. I think Ospreay gets the win here. I don't think Lance Archer is going to go with like 0 points here, but he's Lance Archer. I don't really think anybody's expecting this guy to do much. I think the one wild card here that could throw everybody off the entire tournament is Minoru Suzuki and the rest of Suzuki-gun. It's kind of a hard one because they could really interfere in everything, and that could be the big story going forward. I'm still not completely sold that Suzuki's not going to be in the tournament. Tanahashi's injured. Ibushi, I don't know how healthy he is and ready to do a whole tournament, so it's kind of up in the air here. But I'm gonna go with Ospreay here for sure. Then there's Evil versus Bad Luck Fale. This is not time for Bad Luck Fale to win matches yet, so it's gonna be Evil picking up the win here. Then we have Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr. When I first looked at the G1, I really assumed that Zack Sabre Jr. was going to have just this incredible run. I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case, but I think he'll do pretty solid. We've got Ibushi versus Kenta, and I kind of think Kenta's going to have a really good run. So I think Sabre is going to beat Sonata, and I think Kenta's going to beat Ibushi for sure. And then the main event of the first night is Okada versus Tanahashi, and I didn't even bat an eye at this. Okada. I don't think Tanahashi's going to win many matches in this, or at least I don't think he's going to get a good start to the G1. So I definitely think Okada gets the win here. Starts him off really strong, ends the night with Okada as he gets to cut the promo at the end of the show. And yeah, I think this sets the stage for probably the story of Tanahashi in the opening rounds of this tournament, of him not being able to go with some of these guys. And I mean, it's not even a story, it's just a fact. Like, I love Tanahashi, he's great, but he's getting older, his body's not really holding up. So yeah, I think Okada gets the win there, and that's my predictions for night 1. As for night 2, this is, I think it's like a week later. There's like a week off after the first night, and they're back in Japan for this one. And it's the opening match they've listed for it is Shingo Takagi versus Juice Robinson. And this is another interesting case where I don't know how many matches Juice is going to necessarily win, but I'm going to go with Shingo on this one. I think Shingo is an interesting character here because he did just come off of a 96 match streak of going unpinned or unbeaten. And I think that's probably gonna, continue for a bit. He'll be able to take losses, but I don't think they're gonna really be pinning him much. And I think that's gonna be another big story in this tournament. Is I think that Shingo's gonna have another. I think there's gonna be a lot of guys that go on a big run. My whole thing is I think this is gonna be a very close G1 for the majority of the tournament in both blocks, and I think Shingo's gonna play a part in that in the B block, and so he gets the win over Juice. Juice. Then we have Naito versus Yano, or Tetsuya Naito versus Toru Yano. Tetsuya Naito. That's all I have to say on that one. Tomohiro Ishii versus Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is a person. I like him as a wrestler from what I've seen. This isn't going to be his year, obviously. So Tomohiro Ishii is going to get the win in this first round matchup against Ishii, or not first round, first night technically for B block. Then we have Jay White, the Switchblade, versus Hiroki Goto. This is the match that I struggled with the most, at least on this night. And for a while, for the first 6 nights, this is the match that I had to keep thinking about. I genuinely don't know if they're gonna push this. This honestly could throw my whole tournament off. Is Hiroki Goto? I have no idea if he's gonna come back and get this monster push or something. I'm really betting against it. I like Goto. Again, I think he's really good. I don't really care about him that much, though. I don't know if anybody does now. So I'm going to go with Jay White. I think Jay's got the momentum here. Jay's having a really, really good 2019. Even after losing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, he's bounced back. He's doing great heel work with Bullet Club. He's just a fantastic character. And yeah, I think Jay gets the win here. Or no, I don't think Jay gets the win here. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I think Goto gets the win here. I think this is Goto's one huge win this tournament. I don't think he gets another one. I think he wins another couple matches, but I don't think he I think this is his tournament, is beating Jay White. And I think that's really about it. I think it's gonna start him off big and then it's gonna come off and fizzle off. But to my end of Jay White's 2019, I think he's gonna have a big run in this tournament. So, on to night 3, we have Will Ospreay versus Sanada. This is probably going to be a really good match. Sanada's really, 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 really talented in the ring. And again, Ospreay's having the best year of his career, and one of the best. He's having the best year in wrestling. Let's just put it at that. Seth Rollins feud aside, his 2019 is just incredible. And it's just so cool to watch. Even if you don't like Will Ospreay as a person, which I know there's a lot of people that don't, his wrestling skill is undeniable. And again, the year he's having with match quality, again, also undeniable. So, with that being said, Will Ospreay loses. I think Sanada gets the win here. That's probably not a very popular pick, but I think Sanada's going to need a couple big wins in this tournament. I think he beats Ospreay here. Like I said in the first night, I don't think Ospreay gets many losses. I think this is one of his big ones. Then there's Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr., and I think Zack Sabre Jr. beats Okada. I don't really say, again, Sabre was somebody who I contemplated on giving this big run in this tournament, and I know I have him beating Sanada in the first night and then beating Okada here, and that's a really strong start. And I think Sabre would be an interesting pick. I'm sure somebody out there picks Zack Sabre Jr. to be the surprise win of the tournament, but I don't know. Sabre is an interesting guy. He's he was somebody who I really was interested in the Cruiserweight Classic, because he had a lot of hype around him, and I didn't really know much about him at the point. And then I saw him, and I was like, yeah, he's fine. And then all of a sudden, he shows up in New Japan a couple years ago, joined Suzuki-gun, and I fall in love with the guy. I thought his heel work over there, or still over there, is just absolutely just great stuff. It's phenomenal. But I think he'll probably beat Okada here. Okada doesn't need wins. It can't hurt him, and it gives him a challenger for the fall before Wrestle Kingdom. So Sabre beats Okada. Ibushi versus Evil. I think Ibushi wins that. Bad Luck Fale versus Lance Archer. Lance Archer, I don't really see the need to it's a match that doesn't matter, let's be honest. And it's the semi-main event. Good God, why? Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenta. Kenta. Again, I think Tanahashi's going to start off this tournament pretty badly, and I think Kenta really just is an interesting... He's in a really interesting situation. Nobody really knows what the situation is with him and New Japan, and I think him coming in and beating Ibushi and then beating Hiroshi Tanahashi is just a huge impact to start off your New Japan tenure. And I think Kenta can do it. Like, he's Kenta, so like I don't doubt that for 1 minute. And yeah, so that's my picks for night 3. All right, and so we come to night 4, and we have the opening match: Shingo Takagi versus Toru Yano. Shingo, again, Yano will get a win here and there, but not at this point. Hiroki Goto versus Juice Robinson. Juice needs a win. We're gonna go Juice Robinson. Jay White versus Tomohiro Ishii. We're going to go Jay White here and down in the fall. If Ishii still has the never open weight title at that point, Jay can get a title shot. He can maybe even be the one to take it off of Ishii. I don't know, but I'm going to go Jay White. Again, this is a very hard tournament to predict when you're trying to like go through every night, but I'm going to go with Jay White here, going with my gut. Then we have Jon Moxley versus Jeff Cobb, and Jon Moxley, I don't know. I don't think Jeff Cobb is in the position to take out Moxley right now, especially in the tournament. I feel like Moxley just, we're going to go Moxley. But, Jeff Cobb will get a win at some point. Yeah. And then the main event for night 4 is Tetsuya Naito versus Taichi. Yeah, I don't really know why, but I chose Taichi. I guess this is Taichi's big win of the tournament. It's Taichi, and again, he's having an interesting year. I thought his match with Tomohiro Ishii at Dominion was actually surprisingly really fun and great. And Naito he's gonna have a really excellent tournament, but I think Taichi's going to get some surprise wins here and there. And I think beating Tetsuya Naito is going to be the big one of the tournament for him. And it'll give him something to use if for some reason he can turn into a top like heel in the company. I don't know. I'm just going with Taichi here. I feel like I need I'm not confident in a lot of these picks. This could go either way, but I'm going to go with Taichi. Night 5. We have Kenta versus Lance Archer. This is another one that I really went back and forth on that could like make or break this type of thing, if you're just going on points alone. And I ended up going with Kenta. I really just like pictured it in my mind. I know it doesn't have to be, and I was just like, can Kenta get him up for the GTS? And to be honest, I don't know, but I also know that Suzuki-gun is going to be all over the tournament, as mentioned before. He could win by DQ here. But I'm going with Kenta. Then we have Okada versus Bad Luck Fale. Okada. I know that probably a lot of people are choosing Fale to get the big upset here. I'm going to stick it. I'm going to go with Okada. Tanahashi versus Sabre Jr. Sabre Jr. Again, I think Tanahashi needs to start off very poorly in this tournament. If he's in the tournament, again, a wild card, Suzuki could come in here, but I really want to go with Zack Sabre Jr. here. I think this would be a really, really solid win. They had a really solid match last year in the tournament, or the year before. I think it was last year. So this would have me excited if Tanahashi was at full capacity, but we all know he's not. So just no. Then we have Evil versus Sonata, the big LIJ, match of the... Well, no, there's another one later in the tournament, but Evil versus Sonata. I thought about this one. I went with Sonata. I feel like that's just Sonata. I like Sonata more, so I'm gonna go with Sonata. And then main event: Will Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi, a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom this year. Going with Will Ospreay again. I think he beats Kota here. Again, not too confident in this, and Ibushi was somebody who I went back and forth on how I wanted to, like predict this tournament, but I don't think this loss to Ospreay hurts him, especially again when you consider the year that Will Ospreay's having, and the condition that Ibushi's in. So I'm gonna take all that into consideration and go with Will Ospreay for this one. Then we get to night 6, and we have Juice Robinson versus Jeff Cobb. Here's Jeff Cobb's win. Jeff Cobb, sure, he'll beat Juice Robinson. Why not? I'm willing to go out on a limb and choose that one as his big win. Followed up by Jay White versus Toru Yano. I actually considered giving this as Yano's big win, but I thought about it for a couple minutes and I was like, Jay White. So I have Jay White winning here. Then I have Naito versus Hiroki Goto. Naito gets the win here. There's nothing really to it. I think it's just a win in Naito's belt. And then Shingo Takagi versus Taichi. This is, before I chose Taichi to beat Naito, this was the other one I was considering. I don't think the loss would hurt Shingo, and I think it would really help Taichi. But again, if he's going to beat Naito on the previous B-Block night, then I see Shingo getting the win. And so here we have it. Shingo Takagi will beat Taichi. And then the main event of this one is going to be, oh boy, this was almost the match I chose a draw on. We have Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii. Yeah, this is gonna be just brutal. Like, let's just be honest. It's gonna be definitely a standout match of the tournament for sure, most likely. And I chose Tomohiro Ishii. I think, it's an interesting situation with Moxley. He's an AEW guy, but he's also working for New Japan, and obviously AEW doesn't have their television right now. That comes in the fall, but by the time this tournament ends, it will be getting closer and closer to this. I think that the safe bet is that Moxley drops his title probably in September, and while he could still work New Japan, I don't think they're going to have him be the champion when AEW launches, but we'll see. Time will tell. However, I could see Ishii dropping his title and then somehow winning Moxley's if it came down to it. I don't really know. It's kind of a wild card prediction, but I think Ishii gets the win here for sure. Again, I almost went with a draw, but alas, I couldn't bring my heart to it. And then we come over to the second page of notes and we go to night 7, which sees Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bad Luck Fale. Bad Luck Fale is who I'm going to pick. It kind of feels sad picking against Zack Sabre Jr., but I think Sabrism is going to die on this night, and Bad Luck Fale will show him who the real underboss is. The next match, Tanahashi versus Lance Archer. I honestly thought about giving this to Lance Archer, but my heart went with Tanahashi. I don't think he's going to go 0-4 and lose to Lance Archer as well. So, sorry, Lance Archer. Tanahashi will beat you on night 7. We follow that one up with Kota Ibushi versus Sonata. And again, this was kind of a toss-up, but Ibushi needs another win, so we're going to pick Kota Ibushi on this one. Next up, Kenta versus Evil. This was, again, I really thought about giving Kenta like a long undefeated streak in this tournament. And this was, in theory, one of those matches that could go either way, but I think Evil also kind of needs a win at this point, so I'm going to have Evil beat Kenta. One thing you're going to notice is that nobody in this tournament for me is going to go without 0 points. There's a couple people who go a while without 0, but by the end, everybody has at least 2 points. And the main event for night 7 is Okada versus Will Ospreay. And again, this was another tough one, but I went with Will Ospreay, and hoping it doesn't come back to bite me. But even if Ospreay doesn't win the tournament, I think they could still do down the line for the fall. Will Ospreay, while he's the junior heavyweight champion, versus Okada, who's the current IWGP heavyweight champion, and I think that would be really cool. So we're going to go Ospreay. Night 8, Juice versus Yano. Going with Juice here. Just juicing it up, baby. The juice is loose. Then we got Hiroki Goto versus Taichi, and boy oh boy, again, this either, I don't know, Taichi. I'm going Taichi. Jay White versus Jeff Cobb. Jay White. nothing else to say on that one. Jon Moxley versus Shingo Takagi. This was a very hard one to pick. Again, you consider Shingo's streak that he went on and just how they're booking him, and then you consider Moxley, and it's Moxley. So I ended up settling on Jon Moxley winning, though I'm not too confident on that one, and I feel like that could definitely come back to bite me in the ass in the end. And then main event of night 8 is Tetsuya Naito versus Tomohiro Ishii, and I have Tetsuya Naito winning. I don't think Ishii needs the win, and I think Naito, with how I'm booking this tournament in my mind and how I see it happening, I think Naito's going to get the win here, and it's going to push him on to take over the lead, I believe, with points. And yeah, so Tetsuya Naito. Night 9, we go back to A block, and we have Kota Ibushi versus Lance Archer, and we're going to go with Kota Ibushi. Again, Lance Archer doesn't need the points here. He's just in the tournament to be in the tournament and fill space. Will Ospreay versus Bad Luck Fale. I'm not too confident on this one. I really feel like this could be the big Fale upset if Ospreay's having a good start to the tournament after coming off of Okada win. But I'm gonna still choose Will Ospreay, because why not? Honestly, at this point, we're just flipping a coin. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil. Honestly, I could totally flip this pick right now to Sabre and I'd be fine. But I'm just, for the math I did, I'm gonna stick with Evil. Yeah, we're going to stick with Evil. Then semi-main event is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Sanada. We're going to go with Sanada. And then we have Okada versus Kenta in the main. This is a tough one. I'm not 100% sure on what Kenta's deal is with New Japan, but it's certainly an interesting one. And I think that if he wins this, I think we're in an interesting scenario where Kenta could theoretically get a shot at the title. But I don't think that's going to happen, and I think Okada's going to win. I think this is going to tear the house down. I think this will definitely be match of the night for sure. I can't wait to see it. This is a match I'm severely looking forward to. So Okada versus Kenta is definitely a match to watch out for when it hits you on night 9. But alas, I think Okada gets the win here, and then yeah, I think, we'll move on to night 10. All right, and so here we are at night 10, almost the halfway point. And we open the night with Tomohiro Ishii versus Juice Robinson, and I have Ishii winning. Again, not too much to say on that one. That's how I see it going. Jeff Cobb versus Taichi, and Taichi, such a hard pick. Jay White versus Shingo Takagi. I have Jay White. I originally had Shingo. I switched it to Jay White. Again, it's kind of up in the air. These two are both being booked pretty strong, so don't really know. But I'm gonna go with Jay White because I have him factoring in towards the end of this tournament. So fingers crossed for Jay here. Then we have Hiroki Goto versus Toru Yano. And here we go, boys and girls. Yano's going to do it. I think Toru Yano is going to beat Hiroki Goto, who I think I only have. I don't even know. I think I have Goto winning one match previous to this. Yeah, it's not really a huge upset, but it's Toru Yano getting a win. So, this is the big one. And then we come to night 11, and we have Ibushi versus Fale. Ibushi, yeah, absolutely. Okada versus Archer. Okada. Tanahashi versus Evil. Tanahashi, I think he starts to put some wins together here, and I think it'll be fine. It's not going to be like a great match probably, but it'll be serviceable. I think they're capable of it even if they're not in the best condition. Then we get Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. And again, this was another really tough one, but gonna have to say Will Ospreay continues his hot run in this tournament and gets the win here over Sabre. And the main event, another really good main event. Kenta's got a couple main events, and they're all pretty solid. We have Kenta versus Sanada. This is going to be great. But don't really think Sanada's going to get the win here. I think Kenta's going to continue having a really strong tournament at this point, and so we're going to go with Kenta on this one. Storyline-wise, I don't really know what it does. I don't know if Kenta's going to join a faction. Chaos seems to be just completely dissolved at this point, so I feel like we're in need of a new one. Don't really know what you would do, but Kenta leading a stable could be cool. if Moxley wasn't in AEW, I could totally see him like launching his own. But Kenta would be an interesting choice to launch like a new Chaos or something completely different. But I think Kenta gets the win here. And then we come to night 12. And, this is an interesting night. For a couple of reasons that we'll get to. First off, we have Shingo versus Cobb. I'm going to go with Shingo. Naito versus Juice is like super low. It's not even like the semi-main event, and that's kind of shocking. Going to go with Naito here. I think Juice could win it, but I think Naito's going to get it for personal. I just think, I'm going with Naito. Ishii versus Goto, and here we go. Here's Goto's other match, I think. I only have him winning like 2 or 3. And I think he's going to beat Ishii here. Again, if Ishii is still holding the never weight title, the never open weight title, then I think Goto would be a fine challenger for that. So, gonna go with Hiroki Goto. Then we come to Jon Moxley versus Toru Yano, and you know how I said that Yano beating Goto was the big one? This is the big one. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that Toru Yano is gonna beat Jon Moxley in the G1. I think it'll just be great because you have Moxley, who's coming from like the comedic Dean Ambrose character, and he's now like this uber serious guy. And I think having Yano be the foil to that and beating him with his own goofy antics would be an interesting way. And while I'm saying this, I realize how dumb that sounds, and that this is a complete this is such a I'm not very confident. There's like a 10% chance that this happens, but I'm gonna go with Moxley losing to Toru Yano on night 12, and then our main event of this night is Jay White versus Taichi. Wow. If you told me last year that like a main event of a G1 show was going to be Taichi and Jay White, I would have been like, excuse me. But this is pretty cool. Good for both guys. They're both pretty impressive this year. Again, Jay White's one of my favorites. Taichi, he sold me on him the last match he had with Ishii at Dominion, and I think Jay White gets the win here. Not that much to it. I just think that that's the way it's going to go. And so at this point, we're at night 12. So just a point breakdown for this specific night. For A block, we have Will Ospreay in the lead with 10 points. We have Lance Archer with 2 points. Evil will have 6 points at this point. Bad Luck Fale also at 2 points. Sonata at 6 points. Zack Sabre Jr. at 6 points. Kota Ibushi at 8 points. Kenta at 8 points, Okada at 8 points, and Hiroshi Tanahashi at 4 points. And then you go over to the B block, and we have Shingo Takagi with 8 points, Juice Robinson with 4 points, Tetsuya Naito, 10 points, Toru Yano, 4 points. Again, I'm not too confident on that one. Tomohiro Ishii, 6 points, Jeff Cobb, 2 points. Sorry, Jeff. Jay White, 10 points. Hiroki Goto, 4 points. Jon Moxley, 6 points. It just seems so shocking that I have him like not doing as well as I expected when he like first got announced for this. But 6 points for Jon at this point, and Taichi tied with 6 points. And that it's when you just like listen to those numbers and you just like put it into perspective, it's a very close tournament. And like at this point, like we only have a couple nights left, but it's going to be a close tournament. I really think it's going to be. I don't think anybody's going to pull away with it like really early on. And again, I really think that this is a tournament that can always go either way. And so with that being said, we'll get back into it with night 13, which kicks off with Kenta versus Fale. And boy, oh boy, we're going to go with Bad Luck Fale on this one. He's going to get another win. Just again, if I'm just like Bullet Club antics, like that could happen, and we get like maybe a DQ. But if we're doing just a regular clean match, there's no way Kenta can like realistically. I mean, like I guess he can, but I just don't see it. I'm gonna go with Bad Luck Fale here, especially since they'll probably be playing up an injury angle at this point with everybody kind of tired, and Fale can get a win off of him. So we're gonna go Fale. Why not? Sabre versus Archer. We're going to go with Sabre. Long live Sabreism. It's back alive now. Ospreay versus Evil. We're going to go Ospreay. I need him to get some more wins here. Tanahashi versus Ibushi. Going to go with Kota. And then Okada versus Sonata is the main event. This is one I struggled with, and I thought about it because the night 15 is also kind of factoring into this, but I chose Sonata here. I think Sonata beats Okada, gets a title shot in the fall, and that's just about it. I feel like that's really all my thought process was into that. There was no overarching story. Sonata gets the win. Night 14, Ishii versus Toru Yano. Ishii. Juice Robinson versus Taichi. Juice. Goto versus Cobb. Goto. I believe this is the last time Goto gets a win. I think he finishes with 3. I'm fine with that. That satisfies my Goto needs. I'm okay with it. Jon Moxley versus Jay White. Again, this was another really tough one, and just looking at it again, it kind of makes me iffy, but we're gonna go with Jon Moxley. I had him at 6 points at the halfway point, and I think he needs to get another one, or another 2 technically. So Moxley will pin Jay White, or again, Bullet Club antics, you can go with the DQ if you really want to, but Moxley gets the win either way. And then the main event, ooh boy, this is a big one. Tetsuya Naito versus Shingo Takagi. This is another one that I went back and forth on. There's a lot. This is probably one of the most unpredictable G1s. I know a lot of people when this first came out were like, oh, it's gonna be Ibushi Naito in the main event as the finals, and there's a good chance it will still be that. But just they're throwing us all for a loop, and I mean that's great. I love unpredictable stuff like this. So Shingo could totally win this, and it could set up a whole slew of storylines for Los Ingobernables, but I don't think it happens. I think Naito gets the win here. You can still set up that storyline at some point with dissension in the group, but I think Naito gets the win here. And yeah, so night 15, then we have Sonata versus Archer kicking it off. Gonna go with Sonata. Why not? Tanahashi versus Bad Luck Fale. Gonna give Tanahashi another win. He's sure, why not? Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Gonna go with Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, I don't know. Again, not too confident on this one, but with me betting against, it's a spoiler at this point, but me betting against Kota Ibushi winning this tournament, I need some people to beat him. So Sabre, please come in and do your thing. Just don't break his arm. He's a very fragile man at this point, but just beat him. Will Ospreay versus Kenta. I could see this going either way, but I'm going to stick with my gut feeling and say Will Ospreay's going to get the win here. And then main event of the night is Okada versus Evil. And I said night 13 played a role in my choosing of that main event, which saw Sonata beat Okada. And this is Evil versus Okada. And so I'm going to have to go with Okada. I think Okada gets the win here. I think it just makes more sense. I don't really think both guys in the Evil Sonata tag team are going to get the title shot, so I think Sonata gets it, and Evil can go after maybe the IC title. I don't know. It's beyond me. Night 16, let's move on. Tetsuya Naito versus Jeff Cobb. We're going to go with Tetsuya Naito. Sorry, Jeff again. Jon Moxley versus Hiroki Goto. Jon Moxley will get another win here, and I believe that puts him up to 10 points. Jay White versus Juice Robinson. This was another one I'm not too confident on. But I think Jay White, this is where it kind of starts factoring in, where White and Naito are going to be neck and neck for the final night on night 18. And so I think you'll go into that night with them being 2 points apart. And so I think Jay White wins his match against Juice. Then you have Toru Yano versus Taichi, and I'm going to go Taichi. I think at this point the win makes more sense for him. And then main event is Ishii versus Shingo. And this was another one that took me a while to predict, but I decided on Shingo because similar to me picking Goto to beat Ishii, I think Shingo would be a really solid. I think moving Shingo up into the heavyweight division, I don't think he's going to be the top guy or a top guy right away, so I think they might move him up and he can kind of go for the open weight title or maybe the IC title down the line, or even the US title theoretically. And so I think Shingo will beat Ishii here. I just think it makes a little more sense for Shingo to get the win. Yeah. And then night 17, the final night for A block, we have Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr. I'm going to go with Kenta. Evil versus Lance Archer. Going to go with Lance Archer. I think this is, yeah, we'll go with Lance Archer. Sonata versus Bad Luck Fale. Going to go with Sonata. Tanahashi versus Will Ospreay. In the semi-main event, I have Will Ospreay beating Hiroshi Tanahashi clean as a whistle, and that secures Will Ospreay's spot as the A block winner. Originally I went into this thinking Naito and Ibushi, and then as time has gone on, and I really think Ospreay's gonna make it. I think he's gonna go to the finals. And if it happens, good for Will. I think he deserves it. And then your main event is Okada versus Ibushi. And I think Ibushi gets the win here. I think this sets a tease for Ibushi going for the world title, potentially. And yeah, again, not too confident on this one. Okada could use a nice big win here over Ibushi, but I also think Ibushi could use the same big win. And so I've settled on Kota Ibushi. And here we go, night 18. And this is, again, there's a lot of stuff factoring in here. If Moxley gets booked like a crazy man and has like an undefeated streak, he could show up here and get the win for the tournament. You have Shingo, who could also have a really good run. You have Jay White, who could also have a really good run, and you have Naito, who could also have a really good run. And so let's just get into night 18. Ishii versus Taichi. Going with Taichi. I'm gonna think that he's gonna get his win back from Ishii. I don't know if they're quite done yet. They can play around with that maybe for like a week or two in New Japan. Who knows? I feel like I've set up a lot of challenges for Ishii's title. I don't know how I feel about that now, but we're just gonna stick with it because he can't beat them all, but he also can't lose to them all. Goto versus Shingo. We're gonna go with Shingo again. Shingo closes out the tournament with a win, but not quite enough to win it. Jeff Cobb versus Toru Yano. I have Jeff Cobb winning this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Toru Yano beats the guy, but I'm going to go with Jeff Cobb getting another win. Why not? I'm sure he's going to be really impressive, and commentators will say, man, it wasn't his tournament, but he looked great in all of his showings. Then semi-main, Moxley versus Juice. I think everybody knows that Juice is going to win this one, most likely. Sets up their eventual rematch, and Juice probably winning back the title, most likely. Again, that kind of, maybe not, but we'll see. And then the main event, Tetsuya Naito versus Jay White, is an interesting one because, like I said, I have, in the way I booked it for points-wise, at this point, I have Naito at 14, and White would be at 12, and they're facing each other, so if White wins, then he would go to 14 and would go to a tiebreaker. I don't know if I see that happening. I think there's a very good chance they do it, but I'm going with Naito. I think Naito wins it, and I think it's in decisive fashion probably. Jay White will probably whine about it, but I think Naito gets the win here. I'm pretty confident in this one. I'm not that confident, but I'm decently confident. And then, as just the finals, I think Will Ospreay, obviously, they're both going to finish with 16 points. I think that's my prediction. Ospreay and Naito both finishing with 16 points in their blocks, respectively. And then I have Tetsuya Naito taking the win here. I think Tetsuya Naito wins the G1 again. I would love to see Will Ospreay get this win and go on to main event the Tokyo Dome next year, but I don't think it's his time. I don't. The day may come when he gets to, especially after how impressive his 2019 is, and to that end, I could totally see the booking decision of, wow, Ospreay's blowing up, he's having this insane year, everybody is enjoying his work, even if they don't like him as a person or a personality. Everybody recognizes pretty much that Will Ospreay is having the year in wrestling, and to that end, they could totally just be like, yeah, Ospreay wins this, but I don't think that happens. I think Naito gets the win here, and I think Naito goes on to win the big one next year at the Tokyo Dome for the first ever 2-day Wrestle Kingdom. And I could, again, the whole, Naito being in both main events of both nights, I could totally see that happening. It's going to be interesting. I'm very much excited for this tournament. This video is so much longer than, it's not even that much longer than I expected, but it's a long video, so if you sat through this, I really appreciate it. And if you plan on watching the G1, definitely drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like on the video. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the G1. If you agree with me, if you disagree, what you think the big moments are going to be, what you think the best matches are going to be, just really anything, Again, this tournament's great. If you haven't watched New Japan, obviously I'm probably not going to suggest that you stay up till 5 in the morning every night to watch these if you're on the East Coast, but definitely be sure to check out some of these matches, because you're going to be seriously seeing some of just the best wrestling out there. Even if you're not a New Japan fan, just I don't know, it's really enjoyable. So even if you're just picking and choosing what you see on Twitter of people saying, oh, this is a really good match, do it, because you won't really regret it. These matches are great. You don't really need to be invested in any stories at the moment for the majority of them, and I think it's a really good introduction into the New Japan style, even if you're not watching the whole tournament. And obviously the finals always deliver pretty much nowadays, so you have that to look forward to even if you're not watching the whole tournament. But yeah, so my final pick, Tetsuya Naito wins the G1 Climax, finishing with 16 points in his block, or I guess if you get I don't really know how the points work for the finals, if they technically say they finish with 2 more. So I'm going to go with 16, or technically 18 if he beats Will. I think Will's going to have an outstanding tournament, as will Kenta, and specifically Zack Sabre Jr. I think Shingo will really impress, and I think Moxley's going to have a really interesting one. So with that all being said, thank you for tuning in to my predictions for the G1 Climax. If you haven't subscribed to the channel here, be sure to do that right now. I'll be trying to cover the G1 Climax to the best of my ability. Obviously, it can get a little, overwhelming, but I'll be posting some videos here of my reactions, reviews, or just general thoughts if anything big happens. And also, I'll be probably live tweeting on our Twitter account at Deep6Wrestling. That'll be down in the description below if you want to go follow us. And yeah, again, long video, I know. I hope you enjoyed it if you watched through all of this, and I'll see you when the G1 starts next week. Peace.